Hello friends! We are in it for the long haul today with another houseplant tour. I don't think I've done a legitimate houseplant tour since I moved in this apartment about a year and a half ago, so if you have seen any of my last plant tours, this one should be entirely different. I've definitely downsized my collection quite a bit over the last year or so. I feel like in my last plant tour videos, it was probably like 300 plus plants, 400 plus plants, which is too many, by the way. Right now, I'm probably sitting comfortably at the moment around 200 plants, give or take. I haven't really counted recently, so I'm kind of just guessing. But as per usual, I'm going to get behind the camera and show you literally every single one of my plants that I have here in my home. Some might be dead, some might be struggling. We're going to discover those along the way, but most of them look pretty damn good, especially since we are in the middle or the midst of the growing season right now. So there should be a lot to see today. At least that's the goal of today's video. Now, every single time I show you guys a new plant, I'm going to put the scientific name on screen for you to see. Scientific name over the common name because it's a little easier to figure out because there's only one scientific name of each, while there might be 3 or 4 or 5 different money plants or pickle plants out there. So it's just a little bit easier for you to do some Googling if you do want to get any of these plants that I'm showing you today. Now, I'm only going to put every scientific name on screen one time, the first time that plant is shown. So if I do accidentally show a plant multiple times, or if I have doubles of a plant, which of plenty of them I do, you're only going to see that name the first time. So just keep track of it when it shows up, or you might be kind of confused later in the video, mostly because I'm just feeling kind of lazy today and you have all the information you need, you know what I mean? It's fine. We're gonna start off today's plant tour here in my main room, which you can see behind me, which basically is my kitchen, dining room, living room, and office, and that is where 90% of my plants are held, as this is where most of the light is in my apartment. So we will go to my bedroom later on in the video, but spoiler alert, you're going to see the bulk of the plants here in this main room here. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. We're gonna start today's tour over here in my office area because, as you can see, there's like 150 plants just jammed into this one space, and it's quite beautiful. So why not start over here in the most beautiful area of my apartment? And we'll probably be spending the bulk of today's video here anyway, because there are so many freaking plants over here. So let's start over here on my desk. I have this green plant right here. This one's kind of out of place compared to the other ones that kind of do permanently live here. I just repotted this yesterday, so we're still figuring out where she's going. This one's an Aglae named Modestum, just a plain green Chinese evergreen. It kind of looks more akin to a peace lily in my opinion, but that's kind of why I love it even more. Then behind that one, we have this Chinese evergreen. This is an Aglae named Pictum, so you can see how closely related both of these plants are, yet how different they are in appearance, which I kind of love, although I don't think they're going to be living next to each other. It's just kind of the way it is right now, which also this one looks dangerously similar to this guy as well. So this one is a Rhaphidophora hookeri, I believe. I think the name was incorrect when I got it, but that is the case with many plants on the market in today's nature. And then this maidenhair fern. Aren't you guys so proud of me that this plant is still looking as lush as it does, if not more lush than the day I got it? I was not expecting that, so I'm very happy to see that. Then inside this little terrarium here, we have this Ludicea discolor nigricans. I don't know how exactly how to pronounce the cultivar of that. And then we also have this ficus Pumila quercifolia, the oak leaf ficus. Once again, I don't really know how to pronounce the names, but as long as you say them confidently, anyone will believe that you know what you're saying. Hello, you can see my little peace sign there. Hello. And we have this Ploranda elegantissima, I think it is. It's the false Aurelia is what they call it. And I really love this plant. I don't know why I love it so much. It's super common. I don't want to call it basic because she's no basic bitch. That is for certain. Is she easy to find? Yes, but that really doesn't matter because lots of plants are easy to find. We have this Schefflera arboricola. This was sold to me as Schefflera arboricola dazzle. Don't know if it's anything special or not, but I still love it no matter what. We have a Hoya sigillatus down here. And we also have this Sansevieria trifasciata golden honey eye. I know Sansevierias have been reclassified as Dracaenas, but I'm probably going to be referring to plants as the name that you're more likely going to see, or the one that's going to be easier for you to Google if you want to figure out what the plant is. Let's put it that way. We have a Monstera deliciosa hiding on the floor here. It's in a big giant pot, but this plant isn't that impressive. She needs to do something. She's kind of sleeping for me right now. There's a couple more I'm going to totally forget about if we don't go back to them. This is a pretty much dead crispy wave fern. I just need to replace it. I'm going to do it for a project for work at some point. And then I have 2 air plants, 2 Tillandsia species in here. Don't know exactly what they are. I think this one's a Butzii because I couldn't forget that name because it's incredible. The other one is kind of beyond me. And then I have this philodendron. Doesn't look so hot at the moment, but Elegans is what it was sold to me as. Once again, don't know if that's true, but I'm just gonna put that name on screen because that's what I have to show you. On my little mounted plants that I have over here next to my trellis, I have this Dischidia rucifolia, the Million Hearts plant, Dischidia acuminata, right here. This thing is really funky and clumpy. I really like this one. Ripsalis elliptica, right here, also kind of funky, looks a little bit more like a Christmas cactus. And a Dischidia ovata, or the watermelon Dischidia, they often call it. You can see it's got a little cluster of blooms right here, although they really aren't that impressive. I will be completely honest with you. Okay, so now we have this trellis mess right here. There's a lot going on, so I don't want to forget about anything. So let's quickly focus on the ones that are hanging on the trellis. So I have this Begonia lanceolata. I have this Hoya motoskii. She definitely needs a drink and has some mealybug. There's probably some mealybug here in my home. I know it's there. You can tell me if you would like, but I'm very well aware. And then we have this orchid. They call it yellow bird. I forget the species type. It's like some kind of like cross between a Cattleya and something, I'm pretty sure. And I also have a Hoya, also needs a really good drink, this Hoya Mathilde. I don't know how to pronounce it. Everyone says it differently and nobody says it the same way, and never how it looks on paper. Okay, so up the trellis, the two main plants, I guess there's three main plants in this trellis here, but two of them have really taken over this thing like the monstrosities that they are. And that is my philodendron Jerry Horn. You can see that thing going all the way up to the top. And my philodendron red emerald, which is also just taking over the whole thing like a freaking weed. But we also have this philodendron Jose Buono also just making its mark on the trellis here. He wants to be known, but he's not going to be as dynamic as these other plants for a couple of years. And there is a little platform thingy here, little shelf system, plant shelfie going on, holding the rest of our plants that are on here. So we have this Hoya verticillata, as well as this Hoya crassipes. And see with the more ovular leaves. I know that a lot of my plants are going to be total mess jumbled together and they might be hard to see, so bear with me here. This little skinny leaved guy, this is a Hoya passiflora. And then we have a Peperomia Dahlstedtii. We also have a muffin coming in hot because she loves attention and she's not going to be able to handle the fact that I'm going to be filming for the next hour or so. This is a Hoya lacunosa. This, you know what? I don't know what this is. It's a type of Ripsalis. If I can figure it out, I will put the name on screen, but it's probably just some normal type of Ripsalis. There is totally hiding back here a Hoya gracilis, and then honestly, she's kind of dying. I mean, she's alive, but it's a Peperomia perescii folia right here. Below that is a Ripsalis paradoxa, then a Hoya Kamingiana. This is a Hoya, oh, I don't know how to pronounce this one. It's like Huschkeliana. You know, honestly, that sounds about right. And then this Hoya elagiorum with these kind of larger, more veiny leaves. Has been much more of a slow grower for me, but you know what? She's still doing her thing. I respect that. And then I have a moss pole right here with this plant that honestly I've been kind of neglecting. This is a Philodendron Bernardo Pazii. At least that's what it was sold to me as. All right, so now we have our first window here. Let's back up a little bit so I can give you kind of a better look of what's going on here. So we have this whole like kind of plant corner going on here. We just went over all of that. Now it's time to go over all of this. So let's start up in the window here. I do have hiding behind here. Honestly, kind of forgot about her. Like I said, we're gonna be making some discoveries today. So this is a Dischidia nummularia. It's a variegated version. She clearly needs a drink. And I was pushing aside my Peperomia boii vinii to show you that. You can see it's very similar to Peperomia hope. In fact, it's probably exactly the same, but the leaves are slightly bluer. I would say that's really the only difference I really noticed with this plant. Then next to that one, we have another Dischidia ovata hanging here. This one's a little bit more plump than the one obviously that I have up on the wall behind me. This is a Peperomia clusiifolia. Honestly, I don't want this anymore. I'm kind of just leaving it for dead. I want to replace it with like some other like Hoya or something nice and traily like these that I'm sure I have somewhere else in my home. I definitely don't need to go to the plant store to find something. Just move something else over. And this Dischidia, I want to call it Jerry, but it might be Oeantha. I'm going to put one or the other on screen. Up here is a Hoya, you know what, I want to call it Wayetii variegata, but they sometimes call it Kentiana variegata. I really can't tell you, and obviously it's at kind of a bad angle to really get you a good shot of it anyway. And Peperomia tetragona used to be called Peperomia padiolata. Also, kind of on the outs, we might be putting her out to pasture soon, but this is a Peperomia scandens, also could possibly get replaced by something a little bit more lush and fun. So down into the window right here, we have plants on the windowsill, and then we have plants on this kind of like makeshift plant stand here that I have made out of just a couple of crates from IKEA. So this is my Hoya obovata. This thing has really been growing a lot for me lately, and I love seeing all the new growth. You can kind of tell all the older growth is kind of this like yellowy stuff because it's sitting here just baking and basking in the sun. And a super cool plant that unfortunately you're not going to get to see that well is my Sansevieria pinguicula, which they call the walking Sansevieria because she walks. She walks away from her mother. You can see it's literally coming out of the soil there. I know it's not that easy to see because of all these other plants, but that's just kind of the joy of the organized mess, the organized chaos that is here in my home. This tall guy is a Hoya australis. It explodes in new growth for me, but this thing is covered in mealybug. I'm constantly throwing it in the shower and like putting the hottest water on it. The leaves never burn, but the mealybugs do, so that's kind of the goal. We have a Hoya carrii right here, also just starting to grow for me. We have some new like growth tips going on. There's another one down here, so that's kind of exciting. And then this Hoya was sold to me as like a Hoya potsii or something, but we call this Hoya cowiyi, and also has been growing quite nicely for me. You can see all the new little things. I guess some of them are older. This one's a little dried up, but we're happy about that. It's nice to see. Sansevieria cylindrica bonkel, also just taking over this little area. I'm running out of space, honestly. I forget that plants grow. That's the number one thing about getting a bunch of plants is that they grow. I couldn't imagine having 400 plants because I don't have the room for it anymore. This is my Xerosicius dengai. It was really small when I got it. It was just like a piece or two, and it's grown so much, and I love the way it looks just enveloping this little bamboo hoop here. It kind of looks a little bit more like a Peperomia or a Hoya in my opinion. And my Peperomia incana, which she looks like she needs to be like cut back to the base because we're all just like off on our own journeys, it looks like. But you know what? It's still one of my favorite Peperomia. It's super fuzzy. I love the blue foliage. I don't know how well I can really get you a shot of it because like I said, there's so much going on, but I am a huge fan of this Peperomia. So now let's work our way down here. So we have this, I forget the name of this. Oh my God, how could I forget the name of this one? It's Hoya polypus. Ugh, we love her. And then I have this Hoya multiflora. I have a lot of Hoyas. I collect Hoyas more than anything in my home. I used to be a huge philodendron collector. I used to be a huge Peperomia collector. I still collect Peperomia. I don't really collect philodendron anymore, but Hoya, I'm still an avid collector of. So this Hoya polypus, how could we forget? Hoya multiflora has some blooms coming in. I kind of popped them open. I was seeing like TikToks of people popping open their flowers. I don't know if you're really supposed to do it. I don't know if I have any more to pop. No, I don't. I would love to do that on camera, but you know what? It's too late. It's fine. This one, I don't even remember her name. She used to be called Hoya Weebella. Can't remember the current name of it. I'll put it on screen. But you know what? She's not the easiest Hoya to grow. She's alive, very much so, but clearly she's not the easiest one to grow. Next to it, we have this Hoya insularis. This is a newer one for me that I got from one of my recent unboxings from Plant Haven, Toronto, and I think it's really cool. Very, very interesting Hoya leaves. Let's work our way back before I forget. That is obviously just a little stick, but that is technically a philodendron Burl-Marx fantasy. And then we have this Syngonium podophyllum albovariegatum. This is a Peperomia blanda. I kind of like left it for dead somewhere, and now she's coming back to life, so we're letting her do her thing. Oh gosh, can't remember this. It's some kind of Discidia. Once again, I will put the name on screen for you. And another Hoya Kamingiana. This is a Hoya Angleriana. I really love this Hoya, but she looks like she's got like spider mite damage out the waz, but I never really see any pests on her, but something about her, she's not the easiest one to grow. She probably does have spider mites, and I'm just neglectful of noticing that. It's fine. Epipremnum amplyssimum. I'm not really obsessed with this one. She's okay. She's fine. No, I don't really love it. And Hoya pubicalyx. This is, I think, actually the first Hoya I ever added to my collection, probably in like 2017, 2018. Oh wow, I think we did this whole window. That was a lot less painful than I thought. So once again, let's just zoom out so you can see what we were looking at. I'm pretty sure I hit all of them. Did I miss one or two? Possibly. It's fine. We have a muffin down here. I bought this giant beanbag chair for me, but only Muffin uses it at this point, so that's fine. Oh, we do have one more I kind of forgot about. This is a ZZ Raven, Zamioculca zamiifolia Raven. Oh, what's going on here? Oh no. It's fine. This is I kind of really love this one. This is an Aglaonema, I think they called it like Picturata Illumina or something, but it's probably just like some kind of commutatum Aglaonema. But I really love the blue glaucous color. It's not something I've really seen with Aglaonemas before. And then this Ficus elastica Ruby. She looks fine. All right, so now we have this total mess of plants right here. And we also have the ones up in the window. We are going to start this time down because I'm overwhelmed by this because there's like 40 right here. And I literally don't even know the names of like half these Hoyas. So I think this one is Hoya Calamantan or something like that. And I cannot remember the name of this Hoya. It might be like a Hoya UT something. As always, I will put it on screen. This is a Hoya lacunosa, oh gosh, Royal Flush, I want to call it. This is a Euphorbia. Oh my god, I do not remember the name of the Euphorbia either. It's a Euphorbia, I can tell you that much. We have a Hoya carnosa Crimson Queen. There's also a tiny little cutting of that hiding in here with this Hoya Stenophylla. This Hoya, love the way it looks. It is a mealybug magnet. I'm putting it in the sink like every week, dousing it with hot water, and there's still more mealybug constantly hiding in the gaps here. Love the way it looks. Hate the way she behaves. Hoya Sunrise. Hoya David Kamingii, or David Kamingii, I'm sorry. Hoya David Kamingii, how dare I get that wrong. Hoya Pubicalyx, Silver Pink, Pink Silver, they go back and forth with the name. I think this is another kind of Hoya UT variety. I do really like this one. Cannot remember the numbers though, so of course I will have to put it on screen for you. And then this is Hoya Bermanica. Love the name. It's like Jessica, but not. And this is a Syngonium. I can't remember the name of it. It's fine. It's like Chia Pens, but it's not. This is a Hoya Fungii right here, kind of hiding back here. And this is a Peperomia Kimnachii, as well as a Hoya CV Ann. This is a Ripsalis that is named after an African country that I cannot pronounce. It's like Ferrari something. That's the Ferrari part. It's not part of the African country name, obviously. This is a Hoya Crinkles Tinkles. I've had this thing for years. I traded a friend for it in like 2018, 2019, and it's finally just growing for me right now. We have, how could you not know what this is at this point if you're a plant enthusiast? Pilea peperomioides. This is a Hoya Australis Lisa. Love the name Lisa. This is a Thematophyllum Stenolobum. And they call this Sansevieria Fat Boy back when I got it, but I'm not sure if you know how plant names go. I think they call it Sansevieria Hollii, because it's not Honey Eye. I think it's Hollii with like 2 H's. Another Sansevieria Kirkii Copper Tone right here. This is some type of mammillaria cactus. They call it the red-headed Irish woman, or Irish man. Forget which. This is a coconut orchid. Maxillaria tenuifolia. This is it was sold to me as another Hoya fungii. It doesn't look very similar to the fungi I have over here. Can't say the same, but you know what? It was sold to me as that, and that's really all the information I have. So this is a Stapelia. You know, the guy who gave it to me told me it was like some really rare form of Stapelia, but honestly, it just looks like a normal Stapelia. But I'm not going to completely distrust him because he did know what he was talking about, but everyone else just tells me it's normal Stapelia. So we have a Haworthia zebrina and a Sansevieria ehrenbergii, the samurai Sansevieria. This is a Kalanchoe. I cannot remember the name of the specific Kalanchoe. There are so many freaking Kalanchoes out there. How could I remember the name of it? And then we have this Epiphyllum acromanii here, which goes all over the place. It goes over there, she goes over here, and she's putting off a bunch of new growth, but she hasn't bloomed for me in forever, so yeah, it's fine. Actually, the same person who gave me that gave me this, so yeah, facts. This is a Euphorbia trigona variegata,
kind of fun looking. And then, you know what, this was, honestly, this is trash, but it was like sold to me as a fairy castle cactus, but everyone always says it's not a fairy castle cactus, which is Acanthocereus tetragonus, but you know what? We can't all win the battles, you know what I mean? This is a Hoya callistophylla. This actually just bloomed for me, believe it or not, from these 5 little leaves. It bloomed straight into the soil. It was very unimpressive. And this is a Sansevieria. I literally just knew the name of this like a couple days ago. I cannot remember the name of this right now. I will try to do the research to figure it out, but it's pretty funky looking. And I really love it. This is a blue cactus, Sirius, Azurius, or something like that. And we have another Dischidia rucifolia kind of hiding underneath that. And then there is an aloe vera hiding back there as well. And this Hoya macrophylla variegata. Some people call this the Hoya latifolia now. I really don't care what it's called. I just like the way it looks. And then we have a Distraena reflexa. I tried to like glue this. It didn't really work out because now she's just about to snap. But this is Distraena reflexa, Song of Jamaica. And then there is actually a whalefin Sansevieria down here. She needs to go in the windowsill or she's never going to grow the way that she should. But Sansevieria masoniana down there, that's a fact. Hoya pubicalyx. I have a lot of Hoya pubicalyx, so you're going to see quite a few of those here in my home, as well as this Tillandsia tectorum, one of my favorite air plants. Probably my favorite air plant, if I'm being honest. And then working our way up into the window, we have this Peperomia quadrangularis right here. There is a Hoya Banyang Noi. This thing is about to bloom. You can see we got a peduncle right there, and we have a peduncle right here. Unfortunately, not big enough for me to do the popping. I wish. Hoya curtisii, really making her way downtown, as you can see, walking fast. Then we have not a Peperomia, Hoya Shepherdii. Its lighting is not that great right now, but you know what? It could be way worse. This is a Ripsalis pentaptera. What a stunning name. And then this is Peperomia Hope. So I showed you the Peperomia boavarnii in the other window. This is Peperomia Hope. They literally could be the same, and I literally couldn't care less. This is a Ceropegia linearis, debilis linearis, woodii, variegata. Just call it the variegated string of hearts. Don't go the extra mile with this one. It's really not worth it. And that's this whole window. I'm pretty sure I got every single one, except for the Hoyas that I didn't know the name of. So now we're kind of over in this corner of my home, which is going to be the bookcase, the plant shelfie. Oh goodness, I think I'm going to need a stepladder. So let's start at the bottom and work our way up. So we have this beautiful Aglaonema red emerald, probably my favorite Chinese evergreen that I have here in my home. And I collect these. I know I was saying I collect Peperomia and Hoya and philodendron. I don't really collect Peperomia and philodendron anymore. I fully collect Chinese evergreen, like one of my latest obsessions with plants. I guess it's been that way for a couple years now, but look at that. Is that not like the most beautiful plant you've ever seen? Croton can't compare. She could never. So we have this Hoya Wietii kind of hiding back here. And I love that the new growth comes on this like purple, like very purple. I don't know why, but I love it. And then we have this Hoya Crinkle 8 right here, Hoya carnosa Crinkle 8, and you can see this is also about to bloom, which this is constantly starting to bloom for me, and then it blasts all of its flowers, so hopefully I'm not speaking too soon, but this is the most developed it's ever gotten, so I'm really hopeful that we finally get to see this bloom. So happy about it, fingers crossed. Let's make it happen. Then down here on the floor, I have this Monstera Peru, and then, oh my gosh, I didn't even know I still had this. I'm surprised it's still alive, but it looks fine. This is a Hoya Campylotropa. I don't really want to open it because it's too much effort, but yeah. This is, gosh, I don't know what it is. It looks like it's like a variant of Hoya tetragona. We're gonna call it Hoya, I'm sorry, not Hoya, Peperomia tetragona, but we're gonna call it Peperomia angulata because that's the name I've been seeing for plants that look kind of more like this. But those ones have smaller leaves. In fact, you're going to see an actual Peperomia angulata right here. They're kind of a little bit different, but there's just so many Peperomias out there that I really couldn't tell you what the tea is. Then we have this Davalia fujiensis the rabbit's foot fern, and Hoya breviolata. This one looks like grapes and I want to eat it. And another little tiny Dischidia ovata here, the watermelon Dischidia. So working our way up, we have this Ficus repens, or Ficus pumila, I think is the more accurate name. I really love this plant. Just a match made in heaven for a bookcase like this. Like, are you freaking kidding me? It just looks so good here with these books. And there is a Begonia melanobalata in there, but I'm gonna be honest, I totally forgot about her and I pulled her out and watered her yesterday, and she might need to be replaced with something else in the near future, so that's fine. We'll deal with it when we need to. We have a Hoya croniana right here. This Hoya globulosa, really fantastic Hoya. I love the way it just takes over my shelf. I had to repot it recently because it's very heavy. These leaves are very large and heavy. She was about to tip over, so we had to put her in this planter, and honestly, I don't even think she's gonna last in this planter for another year. So don't really repot Hoyas that often, but this one I definitely am. We have a Syngonium pink splash right here. It's okay. I'm not obsessed with it. People really love this plant. I don't think it's anything to write home about, but you know what? She's still pink, so I get that. I get the appeal. We have another Hoya croniana right here. This is like the silver splash one though, or something along those lines, as well as this Hoya affinity to Bertoniae, which is also working its way down. I do really love just like the mess of Hoyas that I have going on here, as well as this Euphorbia leuconera in the little face planter, which I love. Oh, and we have this philodendron tripartitum right here, which I know I said I'm not too keen on philodendron lately, but I do really, really love this philodendron, probably the favorite philodendron that I have here in my home. Working our way up, we have some more of the shelf, and this is another Peperomia perescii folia here in the penis pot, with a Peperomia hoffmanii hiding out right next to it. There is a resurrection fern, resurrection plant right here, whatever you want to call it. And we do have a couple little bottles in here. This has a little Hoya iris marie in it, as well as this, I mean, it looks a little diseased if I'm being honest, but it is technically an Epipronum pinnatum variegata, so, or aria variegata, so technically she is here, but how alive she is, I cannot tell you. As well as a little piece, a very sad looking piece. We need to do something about this clearly. I don't really pay attention to this, of a philodendron Brawl Marks fantasy. And I might as well just show you while we're here the Cebu blue pothos that is on top of the shelf, but obviously working its way down and kind of entangling itself with the other plants that I have growing on the side here. Like I said, I love organized chaos. I love this mess. It just makes me feel good. I don't know why. We have a Hoya retusa, and we have two actually, Pubicalyx, Hoya Pubicalyx. There's one here, and then there's another larger one right here. You can kind of see there's the planter of the one, the planter of the other one. And then up top, we have this Amydrium zipelianum. Also really love this houseplant. It's got so much character, as well as my specific variegated Monstera, the like green variegated one. This one doesn't really have a name. Maybe it does, but at the time that I got it, it didn't have a name. And a Syndapsis pictus argyrius, just kind of holding down this wall right here with this beautiful trailing mess in front of this little framed picture that we have going on here. So this is what we got here. There's a lot of things that aren't technically plants that are adding into the decor of this, like technically plants, dried flowers and whatnot, books and glass doohickeys and whatnot. But I think that's the joy of plant styling, is not just using plants, but using plenty of other things to kind of just make the whole space come together. And I'm really happy with the way it looks. Oh, and I'm noticing there is two more things over here that I kind of forgot. There is, oh, hello there, by the way. There is this air plant, cannot remember the name of it, some kind of Tillandsia, as well as this Dischidia, which whatever the one that was over there is, this is the other one of that. So this is either Jerry or Oeantha. It really doesn't matter. They're both so similar. So now we have this Sansevieria trifasciata golden flame. I want to say she could use more light, but honestly, she looks pretty cool down in this corner here. As well as this Aglaonema bicaw, which is very skinny and grassy, but also has that kind of variegation in the leaves that the larger leaved Aglaonemas are known for. This one has a little bit of mealybug. She could use a little bath. She could use a spray down with the hose and the rubbing alcohol and whatnot, but we're gonna deal with that when we get around to it. And we have this ZZ plant right here, the Zamioculcas zamiifolia. And before I move my way out to here, actually there is a dead, fully dead Tillandsia xerographica. She survived for 2 full years. I got her 2 Junes ago, so almost 2 years. I'm filming this in May, but she needs to be replaced with something else, obviously. Before we move in that direction, I do want to just go back here because I kind of forgot. So we have this Sansevieria. Oh, she's not looking hot. She needs a drink or something. I don't know. She's not looking great. This is a Sansevieria Bantel Sensation. One of my favorite Sansevierias, but right now she's seen better. I mean, she doesn't look that bad, honestly. But in my opinion, she's seen better days. We have this Calathea orbifolia right here. We have this new leaf coming in right here, which is just unfurling itself out to the world, which how exciting is that? And then inside of this contraption right here, we have a Dracaena goldiana all the way on the left. There is a Philodendron Campos Portoanum right here. I know it's a little blurry. I can't tap the screen to unblur at the moment. I apologize. And a Hoya Fichii right here. So that's kind of just the contents of this little greenhouse thingy. This thing is from IKEA here. And oh, we do have two more. Honestly, they're just waiting to be put out on the curb basically. But we have this asparagus fern that's just... She's too busy and too ugly, and then this Cissus quadrangularis, which just, I don't know. I don't dislike it, but everyone just tells me how ugly of a plant it is, and you know, it's just not making me feel too good about that. But anyway, we've gone through this entire space right here, so let me just back up once again to show you what I have going on. This grow light right here is one of the many grow lights I have in my home from Soltech, and if you would like, you can use code phillyfoliage to save 15% on any grow light from soltech.com. I will show you some of the other grow lights that they have to offer later on in this video, but yeah, this is my whole little office area. I'm obsessed with it. I honestly spend the least amount of time, usually over here on the couch if I'm being honest, or over in the kitchen cooking up something, but I do have this little office area, and I usually sit not here. I take my computer over and I sit over here because if I sit at my desk, I feel like I'm doing work. As grand as it feels over here, you know what I mean? We gotta have the illusion that we're not working. So yeah, but I really do love the way that this looks, and I know I might not be living in this home for another year or two, but I'm always gonna remember how beautiful this little space was and always appreciate it for what it is. So now let's focus over here on the kind of center area of my home. So I do have a couple of plants kind of hiding around in my living room area as well as my dining room area. Definitely not nearly as many as you're gonna find in my kitchen or in my office area, but there is still a few. So actually right off the bat here, we have a couple more of those grow lights from Soltech. That is the aspect light. That's another one of the Vita grow lights, which is what I have over here in that lamp. It's kind of just like a light bulb that you can screw into any traditional fixture, as well as these Grove bar lights, LED bar lights, which allows me to turn this IKEA glass cabinet into a greenhouse cabinet, as everyone likes to call them. So the enclosed space allows me to grow plants that wouldn't normally be able to grow as well in the standard humidity that my home has to offer, as well as the lighting that they would not be receiving because the windows are pretty freaking far away. So these plants wouldn't be able to grow the way that they're growing if it wasn't for these grow lights and for this greenhouse cabinet. So let's check out what's in here. So let's start on the top here. You know what? No, let's start on the bottom because I'm gonna forget to go back down here if we don't. So this is a Ficus Shiveriana right here, the new variety of Ficus elastica. Just put off a new leaf. As you can see, it's still got this sheath on it. Let's get rid of that. And a Syndapsis kind of hiding below this dying leaf of this fern right here. Syndapsis, I can't remember the name of this Syndapsis, but I will put it on screen for you. As well as a Monstera deliciosa albo variegata and this Alocasia frydek variegata. We have, oh, this is actually kind of exciting. So I have a Rhaphidophora decursiva down here. You can see one of the more developed leaves down here, but it kind of was just working its way up. Let's go over to the side here so you can see a little bit better. She's starting to work her way up the moss pole, and this is the first leaf it's putting off since it's really rooted its way into the moss pole, and it's definitely really developed. If I kind of break it open here, you can see there's a lot of fenestrations, and there's only going to be more to come, and we only really have another 6 inches for it to grow up this moss pole in the meantime for it to continue to develop, but that's still very exciting, and we will figure out what to do with that later on in life, as I do with most of my problems. This is a Monstera subpinnata right here. I really love the leaves on this one, and I'm so grateful that it looks as great as it does now, but unfortunately it's putting off this really long runner that we're not going to be able to chase around this greenhouse cabinet, but it's probably at least 3 or 4 feet long now and has not put off a new leaf for me yet, which is fine. It's fine. And then we have this bird's nest fern right here. This is Splenium nidus, which is pretty big. Definitely need to do some trimming of those lower leaves. But I'm so thrilled to see this fern growing so well because I've never grown bird's nest ferns as well as this before, which really makes no sense because they really shouldn't be that difficult to grow. But inside this greenhouse cabinet, it is just absolutely thriving. Then let's work our way up to this level right here. So I have a couple of Hoyas and stuff just kind of hiding around. So this is a Discidia hirsuta right here. This, I can't remember the name of that. Let's check it out. Come on. Hoya leucantha. Little kind of giving like Hoya Bella. Unboxed that recently in a Plant Haven Toronto unboxing I did, if you haven't seen that. This is some cuttings I have of Hoya rotundiflora. And don't know the names of these, so we're gonna have to check. Oh no, this is Hoya cystiantha, and then don't know this one. Oh, Hoya campanulata. She's our companion. These two look very similar to each other. This one's just like the splashy version. I mean, they're completely different species, but they look very similar. You get what I'm saying. And we have this philodendron tortum right here putting off a new leaf for me. First leaf that's put off in a while, which is very exciting. And this, I guess we'll talk about this one. This is an Aglaonema Golden Madonna. She needs to come out of here ASAP. The leaves are bending and she needs to come out. She's also like molding. Do you see that? It's like black mold. I don't think it's actually, I mean, maybe it is, but like, it's sus. We need to do something about it. And I shouldn't be breathing this in right now, probably. This is a Phylicium decipiens. They call this the false fern tree. I really love it. I don't know why. It's so freaking cool. And then we have an Anthurium veitchii right here, which is putting up a bunch of new growth, and it's so fun to watch these leaves grow in the way that they come in like the size of my thumbnail, and then they expand to as big as they are now, and they just keep getting bigger as each new leaf comes in, so this one's probably gonna get even bigger. It's just starting to really get growing. I really feel like I just noticed it like 2 or 3 days ago, so I'm honestly shocked it's as big as it is right now. We have this Epipernum pinnatum, I wanna say, and it's Alba variegata. I actually forget the name of this, but I'm pretty sure it's a type of Epipernum pinnatum, but it's just like so heavily variegated. It's giving like the Marble Queen or the Snow Queen pothos, but in Epipernum pinnatum form, and the little fenestrations are adorable, and it's grown fine for me. It hasn't grown excessively, but the new leaves, you can see them right here and like right there. I think they look great, so I'm really happy about the way that this one's growing. And we gotta carefully shut this greenhouse cabinet because there are a bunch of plants that are trying to get closed in it from the top as we just close that leaf into it. It's fine, it's fine. Plants are strong. They have a will to live. So on top of the greenhouse cabinet, we have this Monstera siltepecana right here. Oh, that's dark. You can barely see that, but she's growing. She's growing. She dies back a little bit, but she's growing all right. And we have this spider plant, the, gosh, what's it called? It doesn't freaking matter. You all know it's a spider plant, but Chlorophytum something. And then a Hoya right here. Oh, I completely forget what this Hoya is called. Maybe it's like Hoya parasitica. I don't think that's it, but I liked it, and I found it at the Philadelphia Flower Show recently, hence why I don't really remember what the name is. So over here in this little mirror area, we have a Dracaena. This is a Dracaena Janet Craig, one of my favorite Dracaenas, just plain green stems, love everything about it, as well as this plain green pothos, the Epipernum aureum right here. Next to that, we have another version of Chinese evergreen. So this is called an Aglaonema Spring Snow. We have a Calathea mosaica right here. It's not looking so hot, but does any Calathea mosaica really look that hot? No, I don't think so. And then this philodendron Burl Marks. Not the Burl Marks Fantasy, just the Burl Marks. It's more of a landscaping philodendron, and she's really starting to get growing for me. This kind of mess over here is kind of falling off to the side, as you can see. So I need to get like a taller moss pole or a taller bamboo stake, although if I do get a taller bamboo stake, I obviously want to use it for that tree that I have kind of hanging down at an angle in the corner there. But yeah, we are working with what we got, and this is how this looks, this little area right here. But as you can probably see, there is a couple more plants hiding on the wall over here. I guess we have a couple plants in the little bar area right here, so let's just touch on those real quick. On the floor, we have a standard Sansevieria trifasciata. I forget the name. There's a Laurentii with the yellow edges, that's what they call it. And then we have a standard Epipernum aureum golden pothos right here, next to a Hoya carnosa. She needs a drink, I know, you don't need to tell me. And then a ZZ plant up here, which also doesn't look that hot, but it's a ZZ plant, so who cares? We have a staghorn fern right here, a Platycerium bifurcatum. Love this fern. I think makes such an impact here in my home. Definitely one of the plants that if I was only to keep like 10 plants, if I was getting rid of all of them, I would definitely keep this one. No lie. And an Epipernum Amplissimum variegata. This is a newer plant for me, kind of why it's just kind of sitting here in its little pot inside a planter. We're still figuring out what to do with it, but yeah, she is adorable. I don't really like the regular Amplissumum, but I really like the variegated version of it. I think it brings a lot to the table. And now we're going to slowly work our way into the kitchen. It's not the cleanest, ignore that. I'm a single male. What do you expect? So over here in the corner, this guy, honestly, just hanging on by a thread. I just don't want to throw it out yet. It's a Syndapsis trubii. Could just easily replace it, but spent like $75 on that a couple years ago, so I don't really want to throw it out yet. And then we have this, it's a Syndapsis pictus. I can't remember the name of it. Wow, I've lost my mojo. I used to remember every single houseplant name, and I feel like I've forgotten at least like 20 so far in this video, but it's fine. I will put it on screen. I will figure it out for you. And we have this Aglaonema commutatum silver bay right here, the most standard variety of Chinese evergreen that's on the market. Now we're gonna work our way over to the counter. So this is my all-time favorite houseplant right here. This is my Schefflera Nova. I think they might be talking about this being like not a Schefflera. I disagree. It's totally giving Schefflera. Or like a different species name or something, I don't know. But she's giving Schefflera till the day she dies, so it's a Schefflera in my book. I also have just some cuttings of this Philodendron pedatum right here. It's actually, you will see it, I think it's that one right there that's like barely got anything on it. So we'll get up there in a moment, but that's cuttings from that one. This, Philodendron gloriosum, I hate this plant. I don't want to throw it out because it doesn't look bad enough to throw it out yet, but you can tell from the leaves that she's had some pest damage. She lives over here by the sink because I'm constantly throwing it in the sink and just dousing it in hot water. That's been like my way of like dealing with pests. It's just like hot ass water and just like not really caring what it does to the plant. Obviously the plant hasn't really been damaged by the hot water whatsoever. It's getting more damaged by the pests, but I am so sick of this philodendron. I bought it for $12 and I thought, why not? But honestly, what a waste of $12. Am I right? We have this Philodendron Hederaceum variegata right here, just hiding in this little glass cloche. And then there's just some plants kind of scattered on my counter here. I'm kind of doing like a little project, so spoiler alert, but this is a, what do they call this? Like a silver dollar fern or a button fern? They call it button fern. It's like I don't even know what it's called. I'll put it on screen. And a St. Paulia, this is an African violet. This is from a recent unboxing. This is a Syngonium aretum. And this is a Ficus elastica, just the plain green version. This is a Fox hedera. It's like a combination of an English ivy and a Fatsia. I actually do really like it. And then this is a Cissus antarctica, which also is growing pretty well for me. So I do really like that one as well. Over here, we have a Ficus bengalensis Audrey, and then hiding below it, we have a Tenanthe burl marxii. This is an Aglaonema, I think they call this one Aglaonema Silver Queen, as well as another Hoya gracilis, another Sansevieria bonkel, Sansevieria cylindrica bonkel that is, and then a Plectranthus ernstii. I hate the smell of this plant. I hate that I just tapped it because now I'm gonna smell this plant, but every time you ruffle this plant, it smells kind of like lemony, like lemon balm, but like not good in my opinion. Oh, and there's a Philodendron Florida right there. So I'm gonna have to go back and fetch the stepladder because we're gonna have to go check out all of these plants that I have on top of the cabinets here. All the way behind that plant in the corner, that one that's hiding the green one, is a Syndapsis jade satin. And this is a different kind of Syndapsis. I think they call it like Silver Lady. It's pretty similar to the other ones. We have another Cebu blue pothos, and then a Peperomia japonica. She could be cleaned up a little bit, it's fine. A Monstera stanleyana variegata. This is a Philodendron Hederaceum lemon lime. We have another jade pothos right here. That's just some cuttings of the one that I took from underneath the Dracaena. And this is a Philodendron, I think they call this Philodendron domesticum. It's just like it's not really that exciting. And then a Monstera deliciosa, which then works over into a golden pothos. And then you can see this Philodendron squamiferum right next to it, which is also just a little messy. Maybe she needs to be cleaned up a little bit. This is that Philodendron pedatum that I cut that you saw down below in the little jar. This is an Anthurium amulum. Kind of looks more like a Schefflera in my opinion, but that's the fun about it. This is a philodendron myoi. I also cut that one back and it's just starting to regrow. As you can see, those little fingery leaves that it's getting, as well as this philodendron bilietiae, which has really been taking over this space. And I really love the way it looks. It's grown at least double in size for me since I got it like a year or two ago. Then finally, we just have this little part of the wall right here over to the left of the kitchen that just has a couple more plants hiding on it. We have this Peperomia scandens variegata, as well as this Peperomia scandens, which both of them also look like they might be put out for pasture soon. This is a Ceropegia debilis linearis, just a string of needles, they call it. This, believe it or not, is a philodendron painted lady. She doesn't really look like it. She looks a little bit more akin to that domesticum I just showed you guys a minute or so ago. Another golden pothos, just kind of doing its thing. Oh, hello there, by the way. And a Syndapsis pictus exotica, which goes literally all the way down to the floor, but I'm not going to show you because my floor is kind of messy over here. So that's everything in my kitchen, but before we head over to the bedroom, which is honestly not that exciting, I just want to give you a little rundown of this room one more time. So we went over the office area over here, which has the bulk of the plants that we saw today. We just went over this little, briefly, we went over this little area right here in my dining area, as well as these plants. And then we have the kitchen plants, which there are plenty of kitchen plants, but just not nearly as many plants as we had over in the office area. It's where I put all of my heart and soul into decorating, and then the rest of this place is kind of just like, whatever, you can do what you want. But anyway, let's go back to my bedroom and look at the rest of the plants. So I've already spoiled you that there really isn't that much back here. I really don't bother that much because there really isn't that great lighting back here. You can see there's walls on both sides of my window, and it really isn't until about this time of year, May, June, July, when the sun finally comes in these windows, so I don't really bet on it that much. But I do have a couple of displays using like Soltec lights and whatnot, and just there's a couple things going on. So let's start over here and we'll work our way over around the room. So over on my nightstand, I do have this Sansevieria fernwood, and I really do like that little planter. It's mass produced, but I love the way it looks. And then I have this Dracaena Golden Coast right here. There are 2 plants in the base. They haven't been holding up very well. It's obviously pretty dark back here, and I might forget to water it more often than I should, but there is a neon pothos as well as a jade satin syndapsis, but I think, oh, I guess I haven't shown you the neon pothos yet, but I've already showed you that neon, or the jade satin syndapsis. This is a Sansevieria trifasciata. I think they call it black gold, I think, or something similar to that. And this is a sad, sad pink princess philodendron. She is not in her heyday anymore. She's suffering. And this is a beautiful juxtaposition to that one. This is a beautiful philodendron summer glory. And then we have this Rhaphidophora tetrasperma. The part that's growing up is getting a little tired. I think it's time that we cut her back, but fortunately, I took a lot of cuttings off of this recently. So I have all of these cuttings down here, which are just starting to get growing. And I feel like we could pot them up together, but you know, I don't really want to upsize that planter. So right now I just have it sitting underneath. Maybe I could find something else to put here to finish, you know, this little display, but you know what, it's fine. And then we have this also pretty sad looking, I don't know what's going on with her, but this Ficus elastica Teneki. I guess the top leaves look fine, but those bottom leaves, dude, like they are not looking so hot. So we got this little trellis right here. I love the little orange accent wall. I painted that. I need art. I want to move that there because it would look so good there, but then I wouldn't have anything here. So we'll work on that. Oh, I do have a couple plants up here. There is a cutting of the Burl Marx Fantasy Philodendron, and then the only really new thing, I guess, is this Aglaonema commutatum cutting, which honestly, I don't know, she just doesn't look too hot, hence why she's been living in water for this entirety of the time. So this is like my rescue greenhouse cabinet, but everything still looks fine, honestly, compared to a couple months ago. Everything looks so good. So we have a Monstera Thai constellation up here, just putting off a new leaf. I'm excited about that, probably like another leaf or 2 after this one, and we might start to get little fenestrations in the leaves, and hopefully get some more variegation, because, you know, we're right next to this grow light here, so let's encourage it. Come on, let's do it. We got a Begonia palensis right here. This is my Amydrium medium silver. And I can report she is climbing up this little wood stake, and this is a new leaf, so I'm really happy about that because I was worried she was just gonna put off runners. This is a Peperomia viridis variegata, And then we have another Albo Monstera. This is actually also an Albo Monstera, so let's just get that out of the way. Along with an Aglaonema chocolate cutting, which is what this down here is, where I took the cuttings from, which is just starting to grow. You can see this one right here is going to be making a leaf shortly, so that's pretty exciting. We have this Alocasia Silver Dragon. This is a spider plant, I'm pretty sure. It was like a scrap in that philodendron right there that we just repotted recently in a video, and so I potted it in here, and I don't know, I'm pretty sure it's a spider plant. We have a Piper ornatum, crocotum sometimes they call it. This is a philodendron holtonianum. She's not looking like it, but she is. And then behind it is a philodendron subhostatum, which has beautiful red undersides, as you can see. And then we have this Anthurium polysticum. I cut it all back recently, and so that's just starting to regrow. But yeah, these, like I said, just like a month or two ago, were not looking so hot, so I'm pretty happy about the way that they're looking right now. But by the end of the growing season, they should look even better than the way that they look right now, so stay tuned. And then we're gonna close off today's video over here on my window, which obviously does not have very many plants on it. I do like to leave this space for Muffin to sit, even though it's filthy. I need to clean it, it's fine. This is my philodendron Tabo Poense. You can see it does have the purple undersides, which is pretty fun. I feel like this one and the subhostatum are really like the only philodendrons I'm like fully aware of that have the fun backside of the leaves. I guess Mexicanum as well, but we don't grow that one. I guess this one too, kind of, but a little bit less. This is, gosh, how am I gonna get in here? So, I don't think I really can. So, oh, gosh. This is a philodendron El Chaco Red. That's better. This is, I'm pretty sure, a dead begonia, so let's not worry about that. This is Drimonia cherubogana, and this is a philodendron plate princess. They're all pretty small and underwhelming, specifically that dead one, so maybe we'll move this guy in there. I don't know. I don't think it really needs that extra humidity. This is a Sansevieria parva. It's a very like skinny-leaved Sansevieria, but I just kind of love it. It's just kind of sitting here. It needs to move somewhere else. It's not really doing any favors right here. And this whole thing just needs a little revamp. Maybe that'll be my project for the summer. We have this philodendron Florida right here, which I love the way it looks hanging in between my windows with these just really funky leaves. And then last but not least is this Syngonium chiapense right here, which is just kind of really just starting to take over this moss pole after I cut it back after it completely outgrew it and was just like all, you know, bare stem at the bottom. So I cut the whole thing back and I propagated it, and now this is where we're at. So I'm actually feeling really good about that.
So that was the bulk of my plant collection. I'm sure I inevitably forgot about one or two of them, but if there's any plants you've seen in previous plant tour videos and you're wondering where they are at, I'm gonna save you the questioning. They're dead. They're sleeping soundly in plant heaven. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this plant tour video, consider checking out my other plant-related content that I post on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, depending on my mood. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok at phillyfoliage. Consider sharing and liking this video if you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in my next video. Have a great day.